Yo, what you lot say, it's your boy here, and today what I've got for you is a Java Deep Talks episode for you guys. And for this episode I'm going to be talking about the current state of F1. So this is going to be my honest opinions on this. I've got a lot of points that I want to talk about for this episode, so yeah, let's get right down to it. So we'll start off with the entertainment value. Now, in terms of the racing going on, it's been pretty damn good this season. I mean, we've been having a lot of good battles, particularly with the front between Mercedes and Ferrari, and not to mention the midfield with the likes of Sauber, Lotus, Force India, Red Bull, Toro Rosso, and of course McLaren. And in the first 4 races, we've seen a lot of good battles between the 2 races, you know. For instance, you know, we had a good battle between Felipe Massa and Najia in Bahrain, which really made it enjoyable to watch. We also had a good battle between the Ferraris and the Mercedes, particularly in Bahrain when they were squabbling for the race, for pretty much the race lead. So yeah. So we've been given a lot of good races, and as a result has made the sport really entertaining. So yeah, I would give it a thumbs up, to be honest, in terms of its entertainment value. So yeah. Next, it is a big one. This is probably the biggest one. This is like pretty much the core of this episode, to be honest, and that is money. And pretty much where we are now, we are pretty much in a spending war. You know, the biggest teams are just absolutely going in terms of developing their cars, and the smaller teams not doing much, just not going as much as the bigger teams, and as a result having a hard time surviving in F1. Now this is a really bad thing, to be honest. I mean because of this, it made Caterham leave the sport, which I think it's a really bad thing to do. I mean, wow, I mean, just if this keeps going on, you know, I feel that Sauber and Force India are going to probably leave the sport as well, gathering, you know, that they're the next 2 smallest teams bar Man and Marussia. So yeah, I mean, it's just so sad to see the smaller teams struggling, you know, and not having the same, you know, support in terms of money-wise as the bigger teams would. So I think there should be more support for the bigger teams. I mean, even better if we could swap around the way that F1 gives money to the teams. That would make it so much better, you know. So the factory teams, which are at the top at the moment, which are Mercedes and Ferrari, should get the least, you know, because look, they've got the most amount of money, and the reason why they've got the most amount of money is just because of the likes of their production cars. Heck, they've got like, Ferrari and Mercedes they've got like gazillions of profit from that, to be honest, thanks to their wins, you know, this year and last year, for that matter. Same for Ferrari this year, and same for the hype of Vettel. When Vettel came in, you know, I believe that there were more sales on Ferrari cars than there was last year with Alonso and Raikkonen. So yeah, I mean, it's just become too much in terms of spending, in terms of the factory teams. I think there needs to be a change, you know, because the last thing we want is the Mercedes and the Ferraris becoming too powerful, and that, you know, and also for them to become immortal in terms of staying at the front. So yeah, I think the only way you're going to actually, you know, shuffle up the grid is actually if you change the regulations, which I don't think it's going to happen for a while, to be honest. So yeah, I think if we're going to solve this, we've got to do it the way it should be, and that is the most amount of money to the small teams and the biggest amount to the top teams, so that the smaller teams can survive and run really well. So yeah, next up it is power units. Now this is something that has been a big topic, particularly with Red Bull, because Red Bull even saying that we're going to quit the sport because of the way that one reason was because of their power unit. Now, their Renault power unit isn't doing that well compared to Ferrari and Mercedes, who are just completely wiping the floor clean. You know, well, with Honda as well. Well, mind you, with Honda's a different matter, to be honest, because it's their first year at the end of the day, and I believe they will be there or thereabouts, you know, come next year, to be honest. So I don't think we should be worrying about Honda's problems as well, to be honest. So yeah, but I think Renault really needs to upgrade their power unit, you know, ASAP, to be honest, because, you know, we've been hit because, you know, because we've been hearing rumours that Red Bull are going to be leaving, and this wouldn't do well for Renault because they have two teams. They operate to two teams, which are Red Bull and Toro Rosso. So in that sense, they've really got to start thinking. You know, they've got to start thinking seriously on their development for their engines. You know, and make them more powerful. To be honest, you know, if they're gonna survive in F1. So yeah, and you know, people can argue saying, oh, but they may not have the money and whatnot, dude. Look at how they operate. They even have their own series. They even have their own series which enables younger drivers to go into Formula 1. They've got they've got a limitless amount of money. They're kind of like Mercedes and Ferrari, for God's sakes. I mean, just Jesus Christ, even Red Bull have got a gazillion amount of money due to their energy drinks and due to their sponsorship. So yeah, but I mean, if they want to quit, let them quit. If you know, if any team wants to quit, let them quit. You know, let's not pressure them. Let's not persuade them into keeping them in the sport. You know, if they want to leave, let them leave. You know, so yeah. But I think if Renault wants to stay, or even Red Bull wants to be competitive, then Renault, they really need to hope and pray Renault has a really good power unit for them to deliver. So yeah, I don't think we should be blaming the team. I think we should be blaming the Renault power unit. So yeah. Next up, JABA Grand Prix. Now this is something that it was a big controversy, but even before the start of the year, to be honest, and that was that the German Grand Prix was not going to be on this season, partly because I only heard like a little bit about it, only heard like a brief info about this, and that was just because Hockenheim, well basically how this started was that in the beginning, before this happened, this year was going to be Nürburgring's go at hosting the German Grand Prix, as Hockenheim hosted it last year, as Nürburgring and Hockenheim like to swap around, and yeah. At that, so when it was the year of Nürburgring, Nürburgring didn't have enough money to invest to host their Grand Prix, and as a result had to hand it over to Hockenheim, who did not have it as well, and that was a real surprise because you would think two of the biggest race circuits, two of the world's greatest race circuits, run really, really successfully, don't have the money to invest in a Grand Prix. Wow, weird, I would say, to be honest, you know. Because they're kind of like Silverstone, you know. They're kind of like this Silverstone. They're kind of like, I would say, kind of like Monza. They're kind of like Spa-Francorchamps. They run really, really successfully. You know, heck, even Nürburgring's going to have the FIA World Endurance Championship this year. So this is a real confusing situation, to be honest. You know, and a little bit weird in my opinion, to be honest, because this is something I don't get, you know. How, when you run really successfully, when you know, even one of them are running a world championship, you know, at later this season, can't invest in a Grand Prix. That is really, really strange, and might have something to do with the way that Formula 1 is running money-wise, you know. And I think if that is the case, if money is if it's because money is too much of a big factor in Formula 1, then I think there should be a way to improve it. I think there needs to be cut costs. I think there needs to be cost cutting and whatnot, in the hope that it improves, you know, it improves the Formula 1 brand, to be honest. So yeah. Next up, Mana Mauricio. Now, if you guys didn't know, Marussia left after Russia. We thought that was it. Nope, they were back. Thanks to what I heard, a little bit of investment from some guys in Sainsbury's who invested the money to help Marussia come back into Formula One. Now there were a little bit of controversy going on, particularly with Force India when they said they weren't going to support. I believe they weren't going to support Marussia coming to Formula One and whatnot, which I think was really, really selfish and really arrogant, to be honest, because you know, this is Formula One, we should be helping smaller teams, you know, come into Formula One. Hell, we need, you know, the more teams that come into Formula One, the better, you know, the better the racing becomes, you know, the more, you know, the more opportunities it will lead for the newer teams that want to become a big success. So yeah, like Tyrrell or Brabham or even BRN. So yeah, I mean, we should be supporting, we should be embracing the smaller teams that are coming into the sport, and you know, filling up the gaps that should be filled, to be honest. So yeah, and I think, you know, in terms of, you know, the way that Marussia is going at the moment, the way that they're operating, I've got two sides to this. I think one side, I'm happy for them to be there, but at the same time I'm like, oh, should they be there? Because I'm thinking, you know, with Haas coming into Formula One next year, and I think, to be honest, that Matt and Marussia aren't going to last long, and probably the same as Caterham, which is to leave the sport, which will be a massive sad thing to do, but I feel would be the realistic thing for them, to be honest, you know. I think that would be the realistic outcome for them, you know. But I mean, just at the same time, you know, we should not be blaming Marussia. If they want to quit, let them quit. Like I say, if they want to quit, let them quit. But I think we should be blaming mostly on the strategic team, which leads back to money-wise, because, you know, they're giving most of their money to the biggest teams, which are Ferrari and Mercedes, which have a limitless amount of money. Like I said, with their production cars and whatnot. So yeah, I think the way that the current state is going, I think Marussia, like, I'm going to be honest here, I think Marussia don't really stand a chance of staying in Formula 1 for a long time, to be honest. So yeah, I think so. I think honestly. So yeah. And yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment below on what you think about all of the topics that I talked about. You know, what do you think about the current state of Formula 1? Is it good? Is it in a good state? Is it in a bad state? Let me, you know, say it in the comments, and yeah, and I'll see you guys next time. It's your boy, I'm out. Peace!